Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path.
A light to my path.
A light.
A light.
There are no typical people.
I had good teams, people who backed me up. God provided those people.
Moved to tears by the level of commitment and generosity.
Sometimes you think, why am I here, God? I'm no good to anybody.
The other turned up to SU every week, and every week I had to tell him to come back in January.
These days, a big part of my role is working with younger team members.
Everyone has a role to play.
Pyjamas and wellies and cycling tape.
A refuge.
Safe space.
Inspiration.
Free to talk about Godspot.
Breathing space.
In the middle of a busy school week.
Fun games.
Sometimes the only opportunity to look at the Bible.
Inquiring time.
And free food.
Something clicked. The following week, there was a picnic out to Ballater. Can anybody go? I asked. Yes, of course, came the answer.
A taster of what it will be like when we are united as God's children for eternity.
It seemed a very natural thing to do. No one complained, and enough pupils chose it.
But you've got Jesus running along beside you.
It's all intertwined.
And these people have been a huge encouragement to me as they continuously point me to Jesus.
So I like to give back to the movement that has so helped me meet, know, and walk with Jesus.
Well, it's been my first priority because that's the way God led me.
We can glimpse a little bit of heaven. It's all God's faithfulness. I'm not a clever person, a person of imagination. I learned
good teams.
People that back me up.
God provided these people.
I learned to prepare well in advance and to come to the Lord day by day to ask for his help. God is there and you are a channel of his blessing. Remember when you're preparing, spend 3/4 of the time in prayer and 1/4 of the time in preparation. Start praying early and get to know names.
What do I like best about SU? The level of commitment. Sometimes you'd be asking people to do the most ridiculous things, and 9 times out of 10, they'd do it. I often found myself moved to tears
by the level of commitment and generosity.
Only God could move people enough to give like that. And you'd see them every year at the big celebration, knowing their experiences from that year as cooks and team leaders and so on. I'd talked to them, I'd prayed with them and listened to them. And there they were. It was often an intensely emotional experience.
I've done 50 years of camps. I used to use my 2 weeks holiday, but I loved it, seeing how God moved in the hearts of these young girls. Sometimes you think, why am I here, God? I'm no good to anybody. I remember one year I didn't want to go, but Heather encouraged me. So I went through all the motions, smiled and said the right things. Went home thinking, well, that was drastic. 6 or 9 months later, I had a letter from Jessie Shaw from Wishaw.
I want to thank you for your camp and the care you had for me. You were an influence on my life, and I thought about it when I got home, and now I've become a Christian.
You don't know until later what God's done.
90% of volunteering with SU is moving chairs. I run Perth Academy SU, and about 4 years ago, we had a group of 20 or so 3rd and 4th years. They drove every girl and every Christian away, called themselves the Jesus Squad, which they were not, though we worked at it. Well, one day in November, there was an incident in the corridor between 2 of the boys, and they were suspended. When I heard about it, I suspended them from SU for 6 weeks. One of them accepted it, but the other rolled up for SU every week, and every week I had to tell him to come back in January. One week he came and said,
James, I've been praying, and God told me you'd let me back this week.
Oh, that's strange, Kieran, I said. God told me January. The next week, he was back again.
James, if you don't let me back, I'm not going to learn about Christmas and the baby Jesus.
I can teach you all about Christmas and the baby Jesus in January. He came back in January and hardly missed a week until he left school.
When I first started volunteering, I did it because I loved being part of the team, that sense of belonging and working together with young people. These days, a big part of my role is working with younger team members, encouraging them in their faith, in their lives, and as they're part of their role on the SU Holidays team.
You will learn such things for life that you won't learn anywhere else. You will learn about teamwork. You will experience a breadth of humanity and have your life touched. You will touch others and always have something to give. Everyone has a role to play.
I remember a huge storm at King's Cross. The campers were coming on the Monday night and we were there from Saturday. The wind got under the big marquee and lifted it into the farmer's field. We took it in turns on 2-hour shifts to watch the tents, hammering in pegs on the campers' tents, double sheet knots on the marquee, pajamas and wellies and cycling tape. Cycling tape? The next morning, we were woken at 6 and told to go to church. But it was great fun.
I have volunteered as a school group leader since S5. I enjoy just being there as a support and encouragement for the young Christians at school. The SU group has been many things for different youngsters over the years. A refuge, safe space, inspiration. Free to talk about God's spot. Breathing space in the middle of a busy school week. Fun games. Sometimes the only opportunity to look at the Bible. Inquiring time.
And free food.
The group's dynamics changed each year, but we just simply keep it real for whoever comes and never forget that it's Jesus Christ that is the reason for all that is done.
As a pupil in S4 in school, a friend invited me to a rally one Saturday evening. We were both going to the students' dressed-up procession, so she told me,
You come to the rally. Anyone can come. It's a good way for us to meet up.
I was a committed church person, but that night I heard someone speaking about Jesus as if he was a real person. Something clicked. The following week, there was a picnic out to Ballater. Can anybody go? I asked.
Yes, of course,
Came the answer. I went to Pitlochry that summer to work in a hotel during my holidays, not knowing that the hotel had had Christian students staying there every year. I got friendly with the student from Falkirk because of her SU badge. During the summer, God showed me that I wasn't actually a Christian, so I went to see Mary. I was miserable.
Jesus is knocking at the door of your heart.
She said.
Open the door.
So I did. Mary from Falkirk. We've been friends since 1959.
Never be afraid of being real and honest with your fellow SU team members, and to take advantage of the range of experiences and wisdom that you find at events. In the business of camp, there are always times to go aside for a quiet word, and I encourage you to do so. We're called to be a community of believers, and camps are an amazing time to get a taster of what it will be like when we are united as God's children for eternity. Until then, keep volunteering with SU.
So I started a junior SU in my room, last period every Friday. Friday period 8, I had an S1 maths class. While they were all working away on an exercise, I took the chance to prepare the board by writing the memory verse for the day. It was,
Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing.
a little head from the front row looked up at me, looked me straight in the eye, and said,
"Is that your prayer about our maths class?" Well, we're on a marathon. We're not on a sprint. And there are going to be times when it's hard. But you've got Jesus running along beside you. Up ahead to follow, watching over you. Well, he's there, and he knows what's ahead. When we get to glory, we'll have endless amounts of time.
It's all intertwined. At Boss Meiklejohn's wife's funeral, someone came up to me and said,
I pray for you every day.
and I realize now I'm praying for people, and particularly now with the photographs. I keep my photographs in my prayer file, and if someone is mentioned by name, I'll look for their photograph. We'll meet people in glory we've had a hand in leading to Christ or walked alongside.
I've met some of my best friends through camps as we've journeyed together and kept in touch long term, sharing prayer points, general encouragement, laughs, burdens, and the rest of life together. These people have been hugely influential to me as they continuously point me towards Jesus and help me to continue to love and grow through serving in this ministry.
I became a Christian at an SU camp in Abingdon in 1963. And as well as my parents and my church, SU had a big part to play in bringing me from a raw new convert to a more mature disciple, and still has. So I like to give back to the movement that has so helped me meet, know, and walk with Jesus. I've used SU Bible reading notes for much of my walk with God.
Because it's been my mission since I was 13, and I'm now 77. And I became a Christian when I was 16. It's been my first priority because
That's the way God led me. But most of all, I'm thankful for friendships.
Friendships that cross age and geography.
Friendships that mean, as an SU holiday team,
we
We
can
can glimpse a little bit of heaven. Your word,
Your word is a lamp.
a lamp.
a lamp to my feet.
my feet.
My feet.
Your word is a lamp to my feet.
Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path.
A light to my path.
A
A
light.
light. There
There
are
are
no
no
typical
typical
people.
Read
your Bible, pray every day, pray every day, pray every day. Read your Bible, pray every day, and you'll grow, grow, grow. And you'll grow, grow, grow. And you'll grow, grow, grow. Read your Bible, pray every day, and you'll grow, grow, grow. Read your Bible, pray every day, pray every day, pray every day. Read your Bible, pray every day, and you'll grow, grow, grow.
The Gospel of Luke, chapter 7, verses 11 to 17, and then chapter 18, verses 15 to 17. Soon afterwards, Jesus went to a town called Nain, and his disciples and a large group of people went along with him. As they approached the town gate, a dead person was being carried out, the only son of his mother, and she was a widow. And a large crowd from the town was with her. When the Lord saw her, his heart went out to her, and he said, "Don't cry." Then he went up and touched the coffin, and those who were carrying it stood still. He said, "Young man, I say to you, get up." The dead man sat up and began to talk, and Jesus gave him back to his mother. The people were filled with awe and praised God. A great prophet has appeared among us, they said. God has come to help his people. This news about Jesus spread throughout Judea and the surrounding country. People were also bringing babies to Jesus to have him touch them. When the disciples saw this, they rebuked them. But Jesus called the children to him and said, "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of God belongs to such as these. I tell you the truth, anyone who will not receive the kingdom of God like a little child will not enter it."